Hello and welcome to A Book in 5 Minutes. I'm Lindsay Milner of silverntraining.com. Today's book is called Unbusy and it is subtitled, I'm going to have to read this because it's quite long. It is subtitled, How to Leverage the Physics of Flow to Accomplish More of What Truly Matters and Feel less busy at the same time. And the author is Andy Dragt. I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce that. It's spelled D-R-A-G-T. So I'll stick with Dragt. So that's Unbusy. How to leverage the physics of flow to accomplish more of what matters and feel less busy at the same time. So, well, that's a little bit kind of apt, isn't it? Considering that quite a few of us have suddenly got a lot more time on our hands than we were expecting. I just got back from a 4-week trip to Australia, and at the tail end of it, things were starting to get a little bit like, places were being closed down. We were being told to keep our social distance and self-isolate if we had symptoms, but there wasn't a lockdown as such, and thankfully I managed to get my flight home without any problems. But obviously I've come home and the message loud and clear is stay at home. So there's, things have changed for everybody in the last week or so. You might be sick and stuck at home. You might be working in a key role and having to still carry on and work through. You might be able to work from home, which, might be a new situation for you if you've been used to going into the office or into your place of work for most, if not every working day. Or for some people, we've ended up with a sudden amount of leisure time, so we're already unbusy. And I'm sure you've seen lots of jokes on social media about how it's not that difficult. We're being asked to stay at home and watch Netflix. Hopefully people are still getting an income. I know the government scheme is going to take a little bit of a while to work out and kick in. And times are difficult for everybody. Now, I read this book before this situation kicked in. It was a little bit of my holiday reading. But I had to have a wry smile when I read the first exercise, because it was, imagine that you went to bed one night and you woke up the next morning and a miracle had happened and you had the life you wanted. Everything had changed during the night. Well, that kind of happened, although probably not to give everybody the perfect life that they wanted. The central premise of this book is, it's one that I've touched on or one that I've covered so many times before. It's know what your purpose is, be clear on your purpose. And then the book is full of strategies to help you spend your time on things that actually move you towards your purpose or fulfill your purpose, rather than all the busy work that we do. We spend all day checking emails and replying to people, but it doesn't actually move us on. We spend a lot of time in meetings, and you come out of the meeting and you're frustrated because that was a waste of 2 hours that you could have been using to do something productive at work. So it's about addressing those issues, and obviously we're now in a situation where those issues are all up in the air and everything is different. However, I do think that in this new situation that we find ourselves in, it is still worth sitting down and having a think about what is your purpose, what truly matters to you. The other thing that's interesting in this book is he talks about using the physics of flow. Now again, flow is something that we come across quite often if we read a number of these books. Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi, something like that, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, talked about how people were happiest when they were working in flow. And he's not talking about quite the same thing as that type of flow. He's actually talking about how a river flows, how a tree, the root system grows, how nature works in flow, and the physics of flow. and talks about using these principles to help us find our flow in how we manage our time. And I do think this is a really interesting concept. So I would say the book is still worth a read, even, or perhaps it, because we're in a weirdly different situation. It was quite interesting. It's not one of the really headline, well-known books that everybody talks about. He does actually say that he's influenced by Simon Sinek, Start With Why. And the premise of the book really is find your purpose, because when you know your purpose, how you spend your time becomes more logical. You don't waste time on things that don't matter. And as a consequence, you feel less stressed, less busy. You feel unbusy because of it. But notwithstanding it not being a sort of big headline, well-known book, it is, I think, worth investing a little bit of time in. I actually found it on Kindle Unlimited. I joined a Kindle Unlimited just before I went away on holiday because I thought, that would give me access to books on my iPad instead of having to buy physical books and carry them with me all the way to Australia and back home again. I would have access to all the books that are there on Kindle Unlimited. If you haven't got an unlimited subscription, I don't think it's very expensive to buy an online copy. And obviously at the moment, online entertainment is the way to go. So if you haven't got a Kindle itself, you can get a Kindle app on your smartphone or your iPad. Not sure whether you can get it onto a laptop. That's not something I've sort of investigated because I generally use my iPad for Kindle books. So that was, let me read the title again, because as I say, it's a bit of a tricky one to remember. Oh, and it's closed itself down as well. So where are we? It's called Unbusy, and the author is Andy Dragt. The subtitle and essentially the premise of the book: how to leverage the physics of flow to accomplish more of what truly matters and feel less busy at the same time. So yeah, worth a read, I think, given we now suddenly have lots of time that we don't quite know what to do with. For some of us anyway. I know there are lots of exceptions out there, and if you are one of those exceptions, if you're a key worker, obviously I just want to join in all the thanks for all the hard work that people are doing in extremely stressful situations. I appreciate what you do, but I'm not really in a position to help and support directly people who are in that situation. But if you're stuck at home and you want to know what to do with your time, then yeah, that's my area. I can help you. I'm Lindsay Milner. That was a book in, I waffled on for a long time. It's because I haven't done one of these for a while, so I'm making up for it. But hopefully you can spare a little bit longer than 5 minutes to watch this video. Lindsay Milner, sylvantraining.com, and that was Unbusy, this week's book in 5 minutes. See you next time. Bye.